You are listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live. Hello, welcome back to the Claret and Blue podcast. I'm your host for today's episode, Dan Rowlinson, joined by Matt Kendrick. I was just going through the YouTube library before we started, and I think this is the first one we've done since I've come back to work. This is nice, isn't it?
It is. You've welcomed a new human being onto the planet, and you've moved house, I believe. So, busy boy, but now you're back doing the important stuff. So, welcome back, mate. Good to have you back.
Yeah, apologies for the delay in the start. I'm the one that's moved house. I've sorted all my stuff out. Before we started, you were like, I've got to move all these boxes out the background. It's not making me happy. So you've done a bit of furniture moving around, and we're good to go now. Yeah.
Yeah, but how long have you been in your new house?
A week or so, 10 days, something like that. I'm not quite sure.
10 days. I've only been 10 years. 10 years last month, or the month before. So
Takes time, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a difficult thing. It's a stressful time. We're here to talk about Aston Villa 1, Crystal Palace 0, of course. Not a game for the neutral, not the most exciting game in terms of chances and goals. I mean, we've not even seen a Villa player score. But a win is a win. That's the main thing. I can't imagine this is going to be one of those ones where we're talking for hours and hours about the game, because not a lot to it really, but an important 3 points, clean sheet, and we're still in 11th place. I said to this to John after the Everton game, like, it's back-to-back wins now. We've still not moved up a place. It's winding me up more than anything. I just want to get back into the top half now.
Yeah, I think we could win 38 games in a row or lose 38 games in a row and still be in 11th. It just seems like we're destined. We're in purgatory forevermore. But rather be in 11th than 18th or 19th or 20th. It was a bit of a bore fest, but having seen like a couple of goal fests at Villa Park in the last month or so and been on the receiving end of defeats, then I'll take it. It seemed bizarre. I know we'll do this in chronological order, but I'll jump to the end first of all, because I'm just irritating like that. But I think it seemed bizarre that Palace were so out of form, had been reduced to 10 men, and hadn't, as far as I can remember, other than the disallowed goal, had a shot on goal or given Emi Martinez a save to make. Yet I still felt we were hanging on. It's still because we've squandered leads so many times. You just thought, just see us over the line, just give us the 3 points, get it on the board, and we can all go home and get on with our lives.
Yeah, it did feel like it was going to be one of those classic Villa days, wasn't it? We'd be coming on here afterwards going, Palace haven't won away for ages. They've not won it. I don't think they've won in 2023 yet. Zaha's not played or not scored for however long, and he's back in the squad now, and he'll score. Of course he will. And that's how I thought it was going to go 5 minutes in.
Can you hear that annoying music, by the way? Because I need to shout at my son, but if you can't hear it, I won't shout as loud.
Can't hear it, no.
Oh, he stopped it now anyway. I must have dropped a subtle hint. That's fine.
What classes as annoying music to you? What was that?
Just any noise coming from his phone when I don't want it to come from his phone. So it might have been beautiful singing when he was in a school choir at the age of 4 or something, but it's annoying to me if it's disturbing daddy time.
Christ, is this what I've got to look forward to in a few years' time?
Yeah. So a bit like your young lad. It's not music as such, but any noise that he makes that disturb you, which I should imagine quite a lot at the moment. And again, who'd have thought it? You've got a newborn, I've got a 15-year-old. Who'd have thought it'd been the noise from my kid that ever?
Yeah. Well,
sorry, but you're the professional, aren't you? That's the difference.
Yes, that's who I am. Just before I came up to start, I could hear him crying downstairs, and I felt guilty, but there's not really much I can do. I think he's hungry, and despite my physical appearance, I'm not able to breastfeed. So
I'm not coming around, mate. Not tonight.
But we'll try and keep this as smooth as possible and as quick as possible, so I can get back to changing nappies and stuff. The disallowed goal, Wilfried Zaha. I thought, this is going to be one of those days. If that's against us, and we've done this kind of thing before, and people go, "Oh, you're a Villa fan, you should be happy with it." And I am. We've won 1-0. I don't really care. I don't really like Wilfried Zaha either, so that's a bit of an icing on the cake as well. But if that goal's ruled out for us, I'll be fuming with that. It's nothing. That offside, absolutely nothing.
I've not seen it back. I'm not making an excuse, but it seemed. I thought the feeling in the ground was like a bit. I don't think anybody was really. The Palace fans were, I think, and Zaha was because he celebrated it. But I don't think any of the Villa fans were actually convinced at the time that a goal was going to be given. I just felt something weird about it, that it was just the delay, and the referee to me didn't look convinced that it was a goal. So I think he needed He needed to have that confirmation. So was it one of these ones where you could have slipped a Rizzler between the two players? It was that tight.
Yeah, I've not heard that phrase before, but I like that. Well, I thought
that's pre VAR anyway. That's it's a well used phrase, mate. So I'm glad that
Okay.
I'm educating you.
Yeah, thanks for that. Well, I saw it I was watching it in means that I'm probably not supposed to be watching it, let's just say. And I thought, that to zoom in really far for the VAR thing, and it's like it all goes purple and they're doing the lines and all that. They didn't actually draw the lines on, but they zoomed in so far that Zaha and whoever the Villa defender were just like pixels that you couldn't even tell that they were human beings. They were zoomed in so far. And I thought it was nothing. But Steve in the comments there just said it was clearly offside when you see it on TV. So whether I just saw a different angle to what has been broadcast elsewhere, I don't know. But to me, it looked really tight, and I'd have been annoyed if that had gone against us. But ultimately, it didn't go against us. I'm happy. Wilfred Zaha's there cupping his ears to the crowd, and then it's ruled out a couple of minutes later. That's good. I like that. Funny.
It just seems to take an eternity again in the stadium. I was just, just imagine that the VAR ref at Stockwell Park or whatever it is, I think he must have just gone for a wee or something, and then I'm needed, and just the usual farce. But on the days that we fall on the right side of it, we don't get too upset, do we? Because we're fickle and biased like that.
Yeah, exactly. I love VAR. From Villa going forward, I mean, like I said, I wasn't there today. I'm hoping to be back for the next Villa game, which is Bournemouth in a couple of weeks' time. It feels like nothing happened. So this is difficult for podcasts. It's like, what do we talk about next? What's the next? The next big thing I can think about is the Ollie Watkins chance on 45.
Don't you normally go back from the start and do team news? I know you're a bit out of practice and stuff, but I don't think that many surprises or changes was there.
Exactly. That's exactly it. What's to say about team news? It's the same again. We talked about that in the last one.
Change to left back.
Yeah.
So standard.
Exactly. So we'll go. What next? It just felt like one of those games that we've done enough to get through it, and that's good, and I'm happy with that. And people say, negative and moaning, etc. But
no, I thought it was spot on. I've been so critical, not critical, but I've been so frustrated by us throwing leads away that I'm happy with that. I'm happy with a grinding, fairly, pretty unspectacular, fairly mundane win. It's a win, and that's what we've got to do at home. We've shown away from home under Emery that we can be really competitive and really streetwise. So, we could have gone gung-ho and ended up losing 3-2 or drawing 2-2 or whatever. So I'm not disappointed about that side of the game. I think it's exactly what we needed to do. And we didn't really look in any danger. I thought second half we were poor, they were poor, and it just played out to its natural conclusion in the end.
Yeah, we played better than that and not got anything from it. So to not really play that well, I mean, to be fair, we had little moments of decent football, some like nice little moves between a few players that ultimately obviously didn't come to much, but for the most part, we'll play better than that in future games and not get anything. So to not play great today and win and get a clean sheet back to back, a 2-0 and a 1-0, I don't think you can kind of overstate how important that is for something to build on. As much as it's not this like free-flowing, brilliant, entertaining performance, I'd now be positive enough to go into West Ham next week after they lost. Was it 4-0 today or 3-0 in the end away at Brighton? Thinking that, yes, that's the difficult away game, and then it's Bournemouth afterwards back at home again. You've got to be looking at those next two games now with the kind of platform we've given ourselves to go there and win both again. But then Villa don't win 4 in a row, do they? So something's going to give.
Oh, we'll finish in 11th anyway, regardless of how many wins in a row. But the thing that pleased me today was, and it wasn't sparkling, but there were some moments, and in the last game at Villa Park as well, we're actually playing probing passes that are getting us in behind teams. So obviously the Coutinho goal against Arsenal won our goal of the month, didn't it? And that's that little kind of slotted through ball whereby, the fullbacks got round the back and cut it back. And it was the same again with the goal that we scored today. It was a really, really precise pass from McGinn that set Cash scampering away. I think I'm not sure that I don't want to blame him because it's ended up in a goal, but I think it wrong-footed the defender because I don't think he thought that the cross was going to go there. It seemed a really weird placed cross, and he kind of stumbled and forced it into his own net. Decent finish.
Terrible goal, Christ.
But I'll tell you what amused me about that, and I'll come on to McGinn properly in a bit because I thought he played very well today. Within
man of the match, I thought.
Yeah, within the the fact that it wasn't a vintage Villa performance as a whole, it made me laugh because there was a bit of we've got McGinn, Super John McGinn, and we know there's been a custody battle over whose man he is, don't we? In the past, and we've referenced that in the past. But I think today, because Dean Smith was there, I think today was the first day when he's been somebody else's man when one of his previous owners was also in the stadium. So it just made me laugh because I always have to remember whose man it is when it gets to that bit of the chance. But in terms of McGinn, I thought he was. There's a couple of times when you see the confidence flooding back, sticks his arse out and he starts rolling players, and you can see a little bit of a swagger. And I think he's got his mojo back a little bit. I think there's still more to come, and he still needs to do it consistently. But I don't think I'll be the first or the last Villa fan to say that playing him further up the pitch with a kind of protective blanket behind him in Kamara and Douglas Luiz gives him that little bit more license. And we know he's got the energy. We know he's got the tenacity. We know he's got the physique to kind of go and hunt the ball. And we know he's got the finesse to do good things with it. And I think it was his pass that's made that goal today. So I think he probably would be Villa's man of the match. I don't know whether an official one's been named. But
the Premier League website gave it to Matty Cash, which I don't know whether does he get the assist, I guess, for the goal? Probably does, doesn't he? So just from a stats perspective, Cash gets it. Just on McGinn, I'm just scrolling through Ash's Twitter because he tweeted a stat earlier about McGinn not scoring in like 45 games or something, and the specific game was like 500 days ago. I can't remember who it was, but I'm trying to find it. Anyway, off the back of that, Ash has just tweeted a picture of McGinn signing autographs outside Villa Park, saying the People's Champion John McGinn still here almost 2 hours after full time, signing tops, chatting to fans, having selfies. Nothing is ever too much trouble for the skipper. Always last to leave to make sure he's spoken to every fan who's waited in the cold. If I can just scroll back far enough, quick enough, I'll be able to find out what the stat was. But it seems that under Emery specifically, and playing in a slightly different role, as you just said, definitely suits him better. He has now just got to add. He's got a couple of assists, hasn't he, in the last couple of weeks? He's now got to add a couple more goals to his game over the course of a season. If he's playing every single week, you want a midfield player to score 4, 5, 6 goals a season. If he's not scored for 45 odd games, that's obviously not good enough. But he's heading in the right direction, isn't he?
Well, I'm not a master tactician, but I think he's got more chance of scoring goals if he plays a little bit nearer to the goal than he has done for probably the bulk of those however many games. Listen, we've as a fan base probably on here at times I wouldn't say we've written him off, but we've said, do Villa need to phase him out and upgrade on, bring in an upgrade if we're to progress? That may still be the case, but all he can do is do his best to prove to the manager that he deserves to be in that team and deserves to captain the team. And listen, we don't want to get carried away about it, but I just think we've seen glimmers of encouragement since he's got back in the team.
Yeah, there's a comment from McGinn. Skipper looking for his first AVFC goal since Palace away in November 2021. He said, "I'm away on 45 games without a goal," he says. He last scored at Villa Park. That was the 504 days ago. Do you want to have a stab at what that game might have been?
504 days
500
ago.
days, so it's obviously more than a year. Well over a year and a half. You're going back several managers as well.
No, you just made me laugh. I think I was going to start singing the Proclaimers. I would go 500 days, but I'm not going to do it. So we're talking a year and a half ago. So Dino would be in charge. Did we win?
No.
I've got no idea. Go for it.
Wolves at home. So no, we definitely didn't win. We could have won, should have won. Yeah. Start of the downfall, essentially. I think you could probably pin it on. Yeah, McGinn's last goal at Villa Park, Wolves at home. Last away goal, Palace, November 21. So 45 games, now 46 games without a goal. Got to improve. But yeah, like we said, heading in the right direction. A stick with midfield, and you said we'll try and do this chronologically, but we're definitely not going to because this is certainly all over the place. But we'll get the elephant out of the room with Boubacar Kamara. I'll read some comments from Emery in a second from the presser, which I assume you haven't seen, about the longevity of the injury. But it seems like it hopefully will be weeks rather than months. Even if it is only weeks, still a massive loss.
Hopefully it'll be hours rather than days.
Yeah, I know, yeah, exactly. Huge loss, Kamara, for whatever it is.
What's he done then? Because he looked in some discomfort when he hobbled down, or when he was helped down the touchline.
Yeah, we'll talk about the challenges in a second. The question was, do you know what part of the leg he's injured? Emery said, I don't know exactly. I don't know the name of it. It's not the ankle. And that's just offering a little clarity on the matter. Emery's assistant, I'm going to butcher the name, Damia Vidigani.
The name, is that the part of the leg, or is that the...
That's his surname. DV told reporters it's the joint between the two bones in the leg. It's not a clear diagnosis. We'll have the assessment tomorrow. It's not the ankle or the Achilles. So no ligament damage, they hope, or they expect at this early stage.
What part of the leg is it?
It's not the Achilles or the ankle. It's a joint between the two bones or something. So I don't know. Knee, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a medical man, but however long he's out for, if it is days, weeks, or months, how much of a blow is that to Aston Villa, Matt Kendrick?
It is a blow.
I'm just going to be
None of our medical staff seem to know the name of the part that's injured. That's a blow, first of all. Now, in all seriousness, it is a blow because it's a team, but he's been one of the most consistent, outstanding performers in that team. And I think he, not just with what he does individually, but how he knits the team together a little bit for me in terms of, giving that backline confidence to play through him basically and get things started, and giving them that insurance to break things up as well. I've only seen the tackle once, and it didn't look good to me. I know the fella got booked and then sent off within 2 minutes of it. It just looked. Sometimes players get injured and it's just, I don't know, a coming together of players or just the way that they collide and stuff like that. I don't think he set out to hurt him, but equally, it's a challenge that he didn't need to make it, and he didn't need to make it like that for me. And that's only at first glance, so I've seen it from some distance at the top of the Trinity, but it just looked clumsy and needless to me. I don't know how it looked on TV.
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that because I haven't seen it either. I was changing a nappy when that happened. Embarrassingly as that is, that sounds like my dog at my homework excuse, but I didn't see the Kamara challenge. I came back upstairs and saw him hobbling off, and I thought, oh my god, what's happened? What have I missed? Thinking it might be a serious leg break or whatever. And then I saw the follow-up challenge, and when he got sent off, I wasn't even quite sure. My first thought was, again, the way I was watching it was not with English commentary, so that was another reason I didn't really know what was going on. I thought, well, that weren't a red card challenge. It was only then I realised that he'd already been booked for the Kamara one, and it's the same guy that had done both. And yeah, I think Villa's Twitter called it 2 awful challenges for Decore has resulted in a red card or something like that. The second one certainly clumsy, kind of just kicks out his shin. The first one, loads of the comments saying bad challenge, angle was 90 degrees, looked bad. I thought he should have gone for the first one on Kamara. So yeah, embarrassingly, I've not seen it, so I wish you hadn't asked me, but yeah, that's the reason why I was knee deep in nappies.
It didn't look great at first glance, and I don't know whether I'm going soft by saying this, and this is a really perhaps kind of stupid thing to say, and you wouldn't have said this 20 years ago, but what I found weird. Kamara's come off. He's obviously in some kind of pain. You see he's in pain when he's been treated on the field. And he's got a couple of Villa's backroom staff, medical staff, helping him. When they've got somebody either side of him, and they've got the kind, propping him up under the arms. Why do they need him to make that trudge down the touchline? Could you put a wheelchair by this? Am I being over the top here?
Well, they got stretchers, haven't they?
I don't know whether it needed a stretcher, but could you not have a halfway house and have a wheelchair? The dugout was big enough, and just pushing up the track, because you don't know. Listen, 50 years ago, people would have broken the leg, broken the collarbone, and come back on and scored a diving header in the last minute in the cup final. We know that, so we know the world's gone soft. But I just think
I know what you mean.
You know,
I do know what you mean.
these are expensive commodities.
Almost
these
that if you're not quite sure what it is, take the extra precaution and don't let him walk off the pitch and make it worse. It happened before. Again, I should know who it is because my memory should be better. But we spoke about it on the podcast. Somebody else got injured for us last season or the one before even. McGinn maybe a couple of years ago, and he walked off the pitch or hobbled off the pitch like Kamara did. Actually, was it Kamara even this season? I don't know. Anyway, it's happened before when they've hobbled off, and I've said, and we've said on the podcast, oh, well, it might not be that bad because he walked off the pitch. Yeah. And then they were out for 3 months or whatever it is. Again, people will know what I'm talking about. So I always think, oh, maybe it's a glimmer of hope that it's actually not that bad if they've walked off, but ultimately it means nothing. But I agree, you would imagine, given the expense of footballers and the football industry, if you're not quite sure what the injury is, get the stretcher out, or get a wheelchair out. But
let
go
us
rogue.
know in the comments, either live or after the event, whether you think I'm just being soft, or if not a wheelchair, you know them trolleys that you can move boxes of wine in Majestic Wines, where you know them little kind of things, and you can just stick, or if you're moving like bricks or tiles or something, stick him on one of them and roll him down the touchline.
I feel like that's worse. That's an accident waiting to happen. That is. Is you right though? Some crutches in the dugout would be easier than two, medical men, I was going to say, doctors, whatever they are, to lug them off. Anyway, we're getting bogged down in the details that don't really matter.
So did Emery, after they established the rough area of the leg that it was, did he even speculate about a time frame? Sorry.
He just said, I don't know exactly. I don't know. At the beginning, maybe it'll be some weeks away. That's the one line that Ash has written out at the moment. And they just said that they don't know. It's just not, they know it's not the ankle at this stage.
So that's the one line that Ash has written, that as if he's sitting on the actual official diagnosis and the exact. Ash, come on, just flick your next page of your notepad. We need to know it.
Yeah. A few people saying stretchers used to come out more often, but they tend not to bother so much now. Yeah, it's probably more of a hassle than it's worth, a stretcher, or they don't have the staff to do it. Yes to a wheelchair, says Steve. Sweet Karma says 2 radio-controlled cars. That's all right, isn't it?
I like that.
That's good.
Just come and buzz onto the pitch and then just take them away.
Like, like the little one. Yeah, like the little one that brought the ball onto the pitch in the World Cup. Get them in to do it, and you've just got to sit on it like a child.
I'm a big fan of that. Or do you remember the do you know the big Zorbs when you play Zorb football?
Yeah.
Just put him in one of them because he's properly looked after then, because you know it's almost like being wrapped up in cotton wool. Just roll him out, roll him down the tunnel.
There's a few good suggestions here. Adam says, I can guarantee 90% of players would refuse a wheelchair just to avoid the dressing room banter they get when it's nothing serious, which, I can agree with that. If players just go, no, it's not that bad, leave me alone. I want to walk off. Don Robbie says, I think you do have a good point with a wheelchair, Matt. If it reduces sideline time by 1 week, then that's a help. Yeah. Rob Henry said a cart pulled by 6 dogs. Dodgy drivers.
You know, look at the rickshaws that you can get in London.
Yeah.
Fella riding the bike on it. I'm telling you, mate.
Golf cart.
Is there a series of Dragon's Den on at the moment?
Yeah, there is. Forklift truck. Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the football. You could tell this is a drab game, can't you?
I'm not making light of the fact that one of our best players is injured, by the way. I'm just thinking, could we have softened the blow a little bit by helping him off the pitch without him putting pressure on the injury? So, for people saying this is serious matter, mate. So.
Get Wilson and Boubacar. Let's talk about Ollie Watkins then. Now, you, like I said, you and me haven't spoken since I was not a dad, childless. I don't know. What's happened to Ollie Watkins? First of all, there was a stage where we were all going, we probably need to get rid of him at some point, and now he's scoring goals 5-5. So could easily have been 6-6 today, and he's only got himself to blame for that chance in the first half. There was a time on the podcast where I said, if Ollie Watkins is running 1-on-1, I don't back him to score because he's missed so many. On the form he's been in over the last few weeks, I'd have put my house on him to score from that position with that time on the ball. So the fact that he didn't shocked me. So disappointed not to get 6-6, but some turnaround from Watkins, isn't it? And a standing ovation when he came off at the end.
Yeah, it was a great chance. It was a very good move to put him in that position. And you can't really celebrate prematurely now because you have to wait for 3 minutes till I'll check. But I was actually out on my seat, hands raised, celebrating it because I thought it was just a simple matter of him tucking it in the bottom corner. So it's one of them ones with a double take moment where you think, how's that actually gone past the post there? Listen, he's in. I was chatting to the fella next to me at the match today, saying a bit like this: what is the turnaround with Ollie Watkins? Is it is it a confidence thing? You know, sometimes we say that players need competition and people breathing down their necks because it stops them from being complacent. I was wondering if it was the reverse with Danny Ings going and him realising he was the main man. What a vote of confidence that was. I don't know. I mean, the thing with Ollie Watkins, he can do all parts of the game really well, but not necessarily all at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think what you'll get from him always is hard work. And I think that's really important to Emery in a team that he wants to play with intensity and to kind of press from the front. So you'll get that as a given regardless. What you won't always get is clinical finishing, although the confidence that's come back to him has given him that to a degree until today in the last 5 games. I thought he was very, very quiet in the first half, and all of a sudden he went back to get involved, won the ball back on the edge of our box, I think, and then just went on some mad surge down the touchline. Which, sorry, this is just taking me in a different direction here, but
that's fine, go with it.
He was obviously won a foul just not far outside their box, having carried the ball forward, and it kind of intrigued me that the player who gave the foul was Jordan Ayew. So Ayew must have tracked all the way back with him. And I'm going massively off topic here, but again, it got me and my neighbour sitting next to me debating.
Your neighbour? That's an interesting way of saying it. Is that how you refer to the person who sits next to you, or is it the neighbour who you live with?
Yeah, it's not my actual neighbour.
Your neighbour at the Villa Park. That's interesting.
Yeah, my actual neighbour is a Baggies fan. What was I saying? So, no, what we're debating was Jordan Ayew, and I meant to check this before we came on air. Other than Jordan Ayew and your man, floppy fringe man, what's his name? Plays for Manchester City, 100 million.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Grealish. Other than him, how many of our relegated 2015-16s are still in and around the Premier League? Not playing top flight football, because there's some playing, Veritu's playing Serie A now, I think, and that kind of thing. Good one, isn't it, there?
It's a good one, yeah. You stumped me. I'd assume off the top of my head, none of them. Idrissa Gueye is at Everton.
Yeah, good shout.
He's the other one. He went to Everton, didn't he? And then went after PSG and has come back. Les Scott, Richardson. Obviously, they're retired now. Akore disappeared off the face of the earth. Thank God.
I'm just having a look now.
Who's the goalkeeper when we got relegated?
Brad Guzan.
Guzan, yeah. I don't know what happened to him into MLS, didn't I think?
What's happened to Kieran Clark? Is he still at Newcastle?
He did go to Newcastle, but he went out on loan somewhere in the Championship, didn't he? I think. He got to like Bristol City or something.
So I don't think there's a
Sheffield United. He went to.
He went where?
Sheffield United. Kieran Clark went to on loan, I think.
Right.
Jordan Amavi, where's he? Is he still playing? He's got to be in France, doesn't he? I suppose. What's this podcast, by the way?
No, it's gone a bit mad. But I think you've probably named the one, haven't you? In terms of
just I think Jordan Amavi, by the way, he went to Marseille, then he went to Nice on loan. Now he's at Getafe on loan in Spain.
I think he's named the guitarist or something.
Have a guess what Jordan Amavi's middle name is. This is according to Wikipedia, so it might be false. You won't guess it because it's not like a French sounding name. I'll just say that.
Brian.
No, similar vibes though. Kevin.
Kevin. Yeah, that can't be right.
Wikipedia. Yeah. I know. What's the
chances
of that?
You know how this podcast has jumped all over the place because the game was so boring. You saying Kevin, it's actually prompted something else that I was thinking about.
Just quickly, the Kevin's got a little thing on the E, an apostrophe thing or whatever the proper word is.
Kevin.
So it's probably Kevin, yeah. Probably.
Anyway, Kevin. Do you remember? I bet you're too young to remember Kevin the Teenager, aren't you? The Harry Enfield character.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Kevin and Perry. Seen it. Kevin and Perry, yeah.
Yeah.
Like sulky teenager. Wilfred Zaha.
Yeah.
What's up with him? He's a really gifted footballer. He's back in the team after being injured. Why does he think the world's against him? Why does he moan about absolutely everything?
He plays for Crystal Palace. He's got
booked for dissent. I mean, I'll take him at Villa. He got booked for dissent at the end because the referee gave a free kick. He was fouled. The referee gave a free kick, and he gave the ref back chat. I just think, Wilf, just get over yourself, mate. But
nothing's good as it comes from anyone called Wilfred. Nothing's ever good.
Oh, I forgot. Is that who you named it after? Your kid?
No, but you know what? I've always said that I don't like Wilfred Zaha on the podcast, and once we named, I mean, it's spelt differently. There's no I in ours.
Yeah.
But I did think
Middle name's Zaha, though, isn't it? Is that right?
Yeah, middle name's Zaha, yeah. But when I tweeted about it that we called it that, I was expecting some people to say something like Wilfred Zaha and the fact that I don't like him. But people went the other way and said Wilfred Boomer, and I was like, oh yeah, let's go with that instead.
I reckon your little Wolf probably cries less than Zaha.
Yeah,
to be
probably
honest.
does actually.
But,
yeah.
There was there's a brilliant moment when I don't know whether you'd have seen this if you're watching away from Villa Park, shall we say? There was Ashley Young was warming up near the North Stand down the Trinity Road touchline, and the ball comes out, and Zaha, they're obviously chasing the game. Then it must be in the last 10 minutes or something, and he goes to like gesture to throw the ball to Zaha, and then just throws it over his head to waste a bit of time.
I love stuff like that.
I thought, even if he's playing, he's just the grand old master, isn't he? Ashley Young.
We talked about that before, didn't we? You know, we've sort of talked about like the ball coming to you in the crowd and stuff, and what you would do. Like, would you hit it away or whatever? I think we've said this before. I've always wanted to do that. The ball come to me and I offer it to the opposition, and when they're begging for it to back and they get another ball from someone else, and I'll just chuck it on. I've got this like weird fantasy that I want to do that at some point in my life, and the ball's never come near enough for me to grab it. One day,
we've all got our ambitions, haven't we? We've all
one
got
day, I'm going to do that at Villa Park. I'm going to wind up an opposition player. My son will be next to me and he'll go, "Dad, get a life. What are you doing, man? Grow up."
Oh, mate, if we can get Wolf to throw the ball over the head of Zaha, mate, that's the dream. You've won then. You've completed parenting then if you can do that, mate.
Just quickly backtracking to a previous topic that's nothing to do with Crystal Palace, Aston Villa. A player that played for us in the relegation season that is still playing in the Premier League, we've missed one. And Joseph Taylor in the comments has come up trumps. Do you want me to tell you what it is? Two people actually, Pete as well. Fair play.
Well, I've just been glancing down the old. You can
say played for us. Say played for us is a bit of an overstatement.
You can say Jed Steer.
No, Adama Traore.
Oh, blimey, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember his unveiling, coming out with a scarf around his neck and doing a few keepy-ups on the halfway line and going back in?
I do remember that. Yeah, I remember him there being quite a buzz of excitement around him as well.
Just because he comes from Barcelona and he was quick.
Yeah, I mean, what's happened to Jose Angel Crespo?
what a flashback that is. Jose Angel Crespo. Oh, sorry about that.
Anyway.
I mean, we'll talk about this in the end about like doing more podcasts and stuff. We should probably do something like what this has been for the last 10 minutes should be an episode in itself where we kind of go down memory lane and go through old seasons and whatnot and just talk about random stuff.
Yeah, is there anything more game related that we need to discuss? They brought the thingy back today. The what's it called when they got that big round circle and they got to try and roll the ball in it at half time?
Prize where it lies.
Is that what it is? Prize where it lies.
Yeah.
I popped for a wee at half time, so I knew it was Prize Where It Lies, or I knew it was, couldn't remember the name of it. So I rushed back. I did wash my hands. I rushed back so I could get back to see some of it. And I missed the first two who didn't get anywhere near it, I don't think. And then some fella called Conrad stepped up. And classic Conrad, not only does he get the ball nowhere near, but he slips and falls on his backside, gets the biggest cheer of the afternoon.
Love that.
This is why we need this. This is why we need Prize Where It Lies. It is absolute, top class Saturday afternoon entertainment.
You know what me and my dad always say about that when they do it? It takes them ages to get the big sheet out on the. Yeah. It's still on the halfway line. I reckon
they must have lost that in some storage cupboard somewhere. I don't know why they've not done it sooner.
In a house move, somebody moved house with it and lost it. Yeah, they used to like kick towards the hole end in there or something. They have to put it on the penalty spot or whatever. Now they kick it into the centre circle. Is that the same? Still the same?
Yeah.
When they do that, me and my dad always say it. Why do they only let 3 people do it? It takes them 10 minutes to set it up. At least give 20 people do it. And it takes a second for each person. It's a big fanfare. It's here's Dave and he's going to do it. And then Steve, he's going to do it. And Matt's going to do it. And it's like, that was it. 30 seconds.
Maybe they don't want to give the prize away.
I've seen one person win it in about 15 years. I've never seen anyone
get it. What they should do is lower the prizes so it's just like a packet of Space Raiders or a lollipop and let all of the whole 10 come and have a go and do it like that.
I think
what happened if you're not using it for that? If somebody had loads of family round and needed a bigger table and a bigger tablecloth or what? Where's he? What are you doing with it? What a waste! I'll have it.
I love how exasperated.
Where's the cake?
What has it been? Where's it been? This crap game that 3 people every 2 weeks get to have a go on. Where's it been? I'm pretty sure there was one season where somebody, I think in the middle, if you got it in the center of the thing, it was a season ticket for the following season. And I'm sure somebody won that one season when we were crap. And it was all like, whoa, is that the booby prize? He managed to get it in finally, and he's won a season ticket. Bloody hell.
So even his moment of glory is diluted just because he
got to go see Paul Lambert's Villa the following season or whatever. Poor bloke.
Yeah, you know what I think they should do with that? It's like you say, they go to the effort of rolling it all out. I think if a player gets injured, they should get 50 fans to carry him off in that, or to just flip him.
Yeah, roll him up like a pancake.
Yeah, and then you catch him back near the tunnel.
Here's one for you.
With it?
Here's one for you. Well, we're talking about pancakes. Obviously, it's been Pancake Day recently, and I feel like if you and me were doing the podcast when Pancake Day was around, we'd have talked about it. As soon as we just mentioned it, we'll do it now. There's a couple of pancake questions for you. First of all, what's your go-to topping on a pancake?
I thought the first one was, why are you such a tosser? Or something like that. I thought you were going to set
that's number 2. Sorry.
We'll
just do these quickly because I feel like people are going to go off.
I'm a simple man with simple tastes.
Yeah.
A bit of sugar and a bit of lemon.
Yeah, right. Ding. Correct answer for number 1. 2, do you eat it as it is, like flat, or do you roll it up?
I roll it up.
Do you? Okay, interesting. No ding for that, because I feel like I like to keep mine flat. And the third question, this is controversial between my household and my family's. How do you eat it? Do you use cutlery? Do you use your hands? And if it is a cutlery, is it knife and fork or a spoon?
Knife and fork.
Wrong answer. It's a spoon.
Yeah, but we posh down my end, mate.
See, my other half has a knife and fork. My dad has a knife and fork, but me and my mum and I don't know, my sister does. She might do knife and fork as well. Me and my mum do spoon because it's a pudding. It's a sweet thing.
Yeah,
so you cut it up with a spoon and scoop it in like a spoon.
No, your other half and your dad are civilized people, and your mum, your mum, your sister are complete trash.
Yeah.
I still
Fair
watch
enough.
this.
Fair enough. Yeah, there's loads of people watching and commenting and getting involved.
I mean, will your parents watch it? Because I don't really want to call your mum trashy.
I don't think so. I think my dad might.
Oh, that's depends. Okay. She's not watching it then.
They're away at the moment, so they're doing other things. Aren't we bothered about watching 1-0 Crystal Palace post-match debrief? Do you want to talk about any other football-related things? I can't think of anything else from the game specifically. Decore's actions, poor. We talked about Ollie Watkins a bit. We talked about Kamara. Duran, let's talk about him quickly because, again, we've not spoke about him on the podcast together. I've not really seen much of him. He's obviously not played a lot. He's only come on in fits and starts. He had 5 minutes today when Watkins came off. I'm dying to see more of him just out of intrigue because I don't really know what we've got to in our arsenal. I know he's come on against Leicester, was it maybe, for 20-odd minutes, and people were saying he looked good in that spell. I didn't see any of that game at all. So I've not seen him other than 5-minute cameos here and there. But I want to see more of him. I don't know how we work him into the same side. I mean, him and Watkins play together maybe, or he needs half an hour in a game. That means bringing Watkins off earlier, and he's obviously been in good form. So first of all, what have you made of Duran in the minutes you've seen of him, and are you as excited about him as I am?
I like the look of him. I think we've said this to John after the Arsenal game that he's. I don't know. I like the rawness of him at the moment. I think I like the fact that I don't know. He's like a big lolloping Labrador. You at a greyhound track. Just let him out, and he'll just kind of just bound wherever he wants to go. To be honest, but I think there's something there. I think he's big and strong. I think he gives us a different option. Like I say, Ollie Watkins has now firmly established himself as the main man. I'll be absolutely astounded if we don't sign another centre forward in the summer. But in the meantime, I quite like the fact that we've got that. We can Watkins can still get a rest if the game's going in our favour for the last kind of 20 minutes, 25 minutes, because Watkins does put in a lot of work. And we've got a different option. We've got somebody who's kind of physically strong, looks decent aerially, looks like he's prepared to put himself about, looks like he's prepared to graft a little bit himself. And, we haven't seen enough of him really to say whether he's the real deal. But I've been encouraged so far. There was a moment towards the end of the game where I wish he'd have just kind of held the ball in the corner and run down the clock, but he was full of it, full of excitement and
like a Labrador, eager
to kind of go for goal. But yeah, I think he's I think he's. I like. Listen, there's probably lots of Aston Villa fans who scour world football and would have known a great deal about him. Sadly, I'm not. I'm not one of those. So I like surprise packages that I think, oh, this is interesting. This is the I quite want to see how this one pans out. So I got high hope for him, and he's a young man, isn't he? You know, so much room for growth and time for growth.
You and John have said the same thing about signing a striker now in the last couple of episodes, and it's almost like nailed on. We will sign a striker in the summer. Not that that's like inside info, but it's like that's your opinion. How do you see the striker kind of department looking next season? Then is it Watkins, Duran, new signing, and Cameron Archer? Is that enough, or is that too much? Is one of them going to leave? How do you see that?
I think so potentially, because I think obviously Watkins been on a hot scoring streak, so he suddenly started getting linked everywhere, and some linked to Arsenal. I think I don't know if it's a spurious source. I'm not sure, but I think what was it now? I think Watkins has got, was it 33 goals in 95 appearances or something like that? I think I looked at the stat today. I think that's a pretty good return, considering that he's been playing in a team that's been either 11th in the Premier League or further down for a lot of the time. So I think it's when we criticise him, sometimes his hold-up play leaves a bit to be desired. Sometimes he's not necessarily on the same wavelength as some of his teammates. Sometimes he's finishing. But he's scoring goals at a decent rate in the Premier League. So I think he deserves his status as main man at the moment. I think the good thing about Ollie Watkins as well is even if Villa do bring a centre forward in who usurps him, he can operate in different positions. He can play off the wing. So I do think the kind of striker department that you've outlined, the current two, Cameron Archer, let's see how his latest loan does again, and another established, I think the player we need to sign, I'm not saying he needs to be an established Premier League striker, but I think he needs to play top-level football somewhere, in a competitive league. So I think it's an exciting proposition, really. What else was I going to mention to you? There's another moment that amused me. I think it was. Did you see when the fella, I can't remember what it was, he got booked for it, had a handful of Matty Cash's shirt? I don't know whether you saw it, but it was so stretchy. If that had been a Kappa shirt, I reckon it'd have torn a hole in it. But it reminded me, the ref let it go for about 5 seconds. And do you know when they do them resistance tests?
Yeah.
And they have to run against, or they've got a little parachute in the back, or they've got somebody pulling them back, or whatever, or a big elastic band around the waist. Reminded me of that, because I swear Matty Cash was standing about 15 yards away from her, and the bloke still got a handful of his shirt.
Running like a cartoon that's ran off a cliff.
Yeah, that's it. The other thing that amused me was, I think Austin McPhee must have ordered a new book of tricks off Amazon today, because they started to vary it up a little bit with some of the corners and free kick routines, and I like that. I like the fact none of them worked, but I like the fact that they're trying to vary it up. And it just amused me that obviously we've been done by that short corner routine, haven't we? A couple of times, Stevenage and Arsenal springing to mind, and I like the fact that the original the thought was not how can we defend this better, how can we do this ourselves? And so they tried that first half. And they realised that some teams defend it better, basically. So it didn't get anywhere. But I do like trying to be inventive around set pieces, and I think they probably did it because of the size of Palace. Palace are a big, strong, tall team, so I think he tried to be a bit more inventive like that. But it reminded me of I've reshared the clip today. Have you seen the Andy Townsend free kick from 1996, I think it was, when he's actually facing the wrong way and somebody slips it into his feet, might be Mark Draper, and he turns and spanks it in against Chelsea. So I do like something a little bit inventive. But I'll take a breath in a minute. That's also going to give me a shoe into my, not going to give me a shoe in, going to give me a way into my story, my Andy Townsend story.
Segue.
A segue. That's what they need to get Boubacar Kamara on a segue. That's exactly what they need.
Good. Yeah.
That's
like the Mastermind sketch when it's like they're answering the question. The two runners are answering the question before. I was answering your wheelchair question from 30 minutes ago.
Is that the old two Ronnies?
Yeah.
I think it is answering the question before. What I was going to say, I had lunch with Andy Townsend the other day.
I know, but we'll come back to that in a sec. I was going to ask you about it anyway, because you asked me to remind you about John Gregory and all that, so we'll come back to that in the end.
People still watching this?
Yeah, loads of people. The one thing I wanted to ask quickly, and we can, you're the authority here, so if you say this is a no-go area, just say that, we'll move on, but it never happened. We're going to talk about Leon Bailey.
Oh, about his laughing gas.
Yeah, his hippie crack, as the journalists like to say more often than not. Yeah. Are we going to talk about that or not?
We can talk about it, yeah, but I think that aren't they? I find it strange that those two terms are used to describe, because laughing gas makes it seem like really, really nice and fun, and hippie crack makes it seem like something that would, kind of bring down society, basically. So I don't know. It's
because Emery was asked about it. I don't know what it is by Ash, but it's in a story that Ash has done.
What did Emery say about it? And then I'll follow the same line as him.
Yeah, because I thought, well, if we've written about it, we must be able to talk about it. But I thought it's a bit of a grey area, so maybe not. Can I ask you your reaction to the overnight newspaper reports concerning Leon Bailey and the photographs that appeared online in print? I'm wondering what your reaction was as manager, not you, Emery. He says, they showed me at the end before we came here to the press conference, but I can't say anything about it. So if we're going to follow what Emery said, that's the end of that segment.
Is that what he said? I can't say anything about it?
I can't say anything about it, yeah.
When did the story break? Last night?
I saw it on Twitter this morning, so it must have been last night or this morning, yeah.
I don't know. Listen, I'm not dismissing it, because footballers need to be, kind of paragons of virtue, don't they? And be cleaner than clean and stuff like that. But well-paid professional footballer does something stupid. I can understand why it is a headline, but equally, it happens so often. I don't think he was dropped, if you like. I don't think he was left out of the team because of that. I think his form's low enough for that. Yeah, I think Emery would have made the change anyway. Discipline him, if it's contravenes club rules, which I think it probably should. Discipline him, fine him, and make him pay the price for it. Basically, like I say, I'm not trying to dismiss it. Equally, it's wrong, but I'm not sure it's the most. It's the worst misdemeanor ever. Is that fair? Or
yeah, it's always more of a story.
I just pleaded the Emery and not said anything.
No, it's always more of a story when it's a player out of form as well, because it gives fans an excuse to go, well, if he was playing well, I don't mind if he's doing that in his spare time, but he's playing poorly as well. He should be training every day. He should be looking after himself. He should be in the best physical condition ever to be a better footballer. I do kind of agree with that. They have got a responsibility to look after their bodies and be responsible and stuff like that. But like you said, is it the worst thing in the world? No. Should he be doing it? Also, no. Let's move on and, like you say, plead the Emery and go forth and see what they do next.
I always
They're fine. It's a talking point, isn't it? If they don't and it's all swept under the carpet, we'll just do the same. Yeah,
I remember we had the.
It's not smart. Let's just end it there.
I think there was something with Gabby, wasn't there? In the.
Yeah, the shisha, was it back then?
Yeah, shisha and Stephen Ireland smoking a shisha pipe and all this kind of thing. So, footballers can't do anything without it becoming kind of common knowledge. So perhaps they should try and be more discreet, or actually not do those things in the first place.
Yeah, just don't do it. It's stupid. It can be dangerous. Stay away. You've got a responsibility to not do stuff like that.
I had a thought today. I think I must have been listening to the Zootons rather than the Amy Winehouse version. But why don't you come on over Valerie? I wonder if that could be turned into an Emery song. But I've only got the "Why don't you come on over Emery"? I haven't got the verse yet.
What does that mean? Why don't you come on over Emery? What does that mean?
I don't know. Just if you want to come out for tea or something, eat pancakes with a knife and fork. That kind of. I just think dun 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 dun, dun, and I look across the whole tent.
Good. Yeah. Of any chant you're making, stick Old Ten in there somewhere.
Around the U bend.
Let's end that there. It's a no from me.
Yeah, I think if we can work on the lyrics, I think there's something there.
Talk to me about John Gregory. You messaged me a couple of days ago saying, remind me to talk about John Gregory on the podcast. So this is your reminder.
Yeah, I've sent you my picture.
Andy Townsend as well. No, you haven't sent me any pictures.
Oh, well, I bet I can't do it now. Don't worry about it. Shame. What I was going to say, yeah, so people will know that last Saturday, Saturday was the 25th anniversary of John Gregory's appointment of Aston Villa manager. I've never met John Gregory before, although I feel that, I feel we had a 3-hour podcast with him, so I feel that we're best buddies and had lots of interactions with him on social media and stuff. So I feel like I kind of know the guy. But a chap called Martin Swain, who used to be the kind of chief football writer at the Express and Star, and was the Villa writer when Gregory was Villa manager, and they became close mates, and through a shared love of music and stuff like that, and even ended up playing at the Jam House together and on the Ian Wright show, because he runs a band called the Swains. Anyway, Swainey got in touch with me and said, and I think it's because A, he knows I'm a massive Villa fan, and B, if he got me to do it, I'd organise it for him rather than him having to put the graft in. He said, could a few of the kind of old boys take Gregory out for a meal to celebrate the 25th year? So myself, Martin Swain, John Gregory, Steve Stride, Tom Ross, Dave Armitage, and who am I missing here? Oh God, I'm going to be Rob Bishop, and whoever else I've missed. Well, that group of us arranged to go for a lunch at Hotel Duran a week or so ago, and it was great. And by complete coincidence, former Aston Villa's last trophy-winning captain, Andy Townsend, was also in there having a drink with former Aston Villa press officer, communications officer, Steve Tudgay. I don't. You might not remember Steve Tudgay. He was only there for an hour. An hour for a year. So we ended up having this really nice meal, and it was just great. It was just anecdotes galore. Some, won't ruin Andy Townsend after dinner, kind of speech. But it was that's really good. And as people just kind of left and caught their trains and stuff like that, I think me and John Gregory were the last ones standing. He was being sophisticated and drinking wine. Not with a knife and fork, and I'd had a few by then, to be honest, and sticking the IPA down my neck. But it was really nice to actually kind of be in that kind of company and hear some of the anecdotes and some of the fun from the past.
There were some of those ones that wouldn't have been fit for the podcast. Coming from John Gregory, there must have been some ones that were a bit close to the bone.
Possibly, we've had to run a few of them by our lawyers and that kind of thing. I'd have thought so. No, it was good fun, and it was nice to mark the occasion.
Really good.
To my generation, if you like, we had a good run. To be honest, we had Big Ron, Brian, and John Gregory all in a row at a time when we were regularly competing at the top end of English football. And the message from Gregory was that he wants to, he must be late 60s now, I think, but he wants to get back in, not necessarily in England, but he still thinks he's got another management job within him. So whether that comes, I think he'd probably go back overseas. He obviously had the success in India, didn't he? So it was good. Just really, he was in good form, and it was good to see him. So. There we go.
So if anyone's not seen the 3-hour podcast with John Gregory that we did over lockdown, that's available on the channel somewhere. So go and search John Gregory Claret and Blue and you'll find it. I mean, we could have done another 3-hour podcast with him with the amount of stories that he told. Just wondering, from your kind of work duties here and your podcast duties, did you tap up Andy Townsend for an episode while you were there?
I didn't, but I will do. Do. It's not that, it's
time and a place.
I was out with my busy mates when I didn't want to. I didn't want to make it too work related.
Fair enough. Yeah, good. I'm pretty sure that's everything that we were going to mention on this episode. We said we'd try and keep it relatively short, and that was my intention. The fact that we've almost hit an hour, about 5 minutes was Crystal Palace. The rest of it was anything but that. Just a little bit of a kind of housekeeping bit at the end of stuff that we're doing. Like we said that we wanted to do more stuff in 2023. We're trying to introduce more episodes, more interviews, etc. We've done reels and YouTube shorts over the last few days. So people have seen more like 30-second uploads from us. They're basically for a different platform. and it'll be clips from previous episodes or interview guests and things like that. So you'll see more kind of shareable TikTok length, YouTube reels, whatever they are, on the channel. So you might get a notification saying Claret and Blue have uploaded a new episode, and it'll be like 30 seconds long. So that's what those are. They're not us trying to scam our way through to make shorter episodes, because here we are doing 54 minutes. But the more kind of like bigger stuff that we want to do, I think we're going to try and introduce another weekly podcast where we've got preview on a Friday, post-match on a Saturday or Sunday night, and then something else on a, say, a Tuesday or a Wednesday where we look at a topic specifically just about something else. So it could be a history thing like we mentioned earlier. It could be, I want to do something about the atmosphere, possibly for an episode of that. Maybe get you and Ash and John together or something and do, you know, comments on the atmosphere for 20 minutes, and that's an episode in itself, rather than a talking point that we bury in a post-match show and it's kind of forgotten about. Having like a dedicated Claret and Blue podcast number 200, the Villa Park atmosphere, let's discuss it, or whatever the title would be, something better than that. So we will try and introduce more stuff on the channel over the rest of 2023. Does that all sound good to you, Matt? You listening to any of that?
I'm listening to it, and I actually think you know, some of the kind of knockabout. I've just sent you a picture of me and John Gregory, but I've realised, I've only just paid attention to that. I've realised how half cut I look. That must have been taken about 8:30. I'm probably about 9 points in.
It also looks like it was taken on a potato. The quality is so bad and so small.
Just ruin everything, don't you? What I was going to say, yeah, I want us to do sort of, we said this the other day, some of the kind of fun things, like the kind of, you know, the 15 academy players you didn't know came through the ranks at Villa, or you know, we've done bits like that, haven't we? I think I tell you what we did on Aliv Notza, which was the horrible, illegitimate big brother of Claret and Blue before Dan came along and tried to put. This is the polished version. Imagine how bad that was before. Yeah. We did like the 10 most hated villains.
Yeah, I'd like to do stuff like that, as much as that sounds terrible. Like, we've done like the World Cup of kits, we've done quizzes, we've done I think we did the World Cup of worst players, didn't we? So we have done something like that. We did like the A to Z of all things Aston Villa. Like, there's loads of these kind of like bite-sized topics that we can kind of do in a whole episode about, and we'll probably do those as like pre-recorded, and they'll be posted every Tuesday morning or something like that. So you know that on a press conference day there's a preview, on a game day there's a post-match show, and every Tuesday there's something else. So it's not we're not going to be taking anything away. So if you think they've uploaded a video about the 10 worst Villa players on a Tuesday, I don't care about that. We'll still do the post-match show on the weekend. But for the people that are engaged in what we do and want more from us, I want to do something every Tuesday or every Monday, whatever it is, like an appointment to view that, you know, oh, it's Tuesday, there'll be some kind of Claret and Blue video today. Might not necessarily be an hour-long podcast. It could be a 10-minute video about us reciting our favourite memories of Yoris Akore scoring own goals against whoever it was in the cup or whatever from 15 years ago. Just random topics like this podcast has been today, to be honest. We'll just go down tangents and just see what happens.
Put them off. We want it to be good.
So yeah, let's see what the future brings. Obviously, interviews and going out on location and doing more kind of documentary bits is the kind of high and mighty plan, but they're much harder to come by. Live events as well, people have asked about. We'll do one at the end of the season, and we'll probably do one at the start of next season. Details to be confirmed of where and when that is, but it's definitely on our to-do list that we will do one. Yeah, that's it, I think, for housekeeping. Like I said, almost an hour-long podcast. Barely discussed Crystal Palace, but that's probably for the best. A win's a win. Happy days, but we'll have to play better against other opposition to get the 3 points on another day.
Yeah, my stomach's growling now. I'm going to go and have a fish finger sandwich, I think, and eat it with a spoon.
Nice. Yeah, fair enough.
Cool, Matt, we're done.
Thank you for joining me this evening. Thanks everyone for tuning in, as always. Like I said, we'll try and do a midweek episode this week, so keep your eyes peeled. There'll be something from us. Let's say Tuesday will be the day that we post something, and then we'll be back for a preview for the West Ham game on Friday, and a post-match this time next week if we're playing on a Saturday, which I assume we are, but I don't know for certain. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you again in a couple of days. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue, and Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do let us know. We love hearing your thoughts and comments. We'll be back soon with another episode, but until then, up the Villa.